At this point, you've recovered the XML data downloaded from the server in an XML document, a JavaScript XML document object. The question is now, how do you extract the data from that XML document object? Well, the XML that's been passed to you is built around a root element named options. It has 3 option elements inside it. This is for the color scheme 1, red, green, and blue. And how do you extract that data from the XML that's been sent to you? You can use the XML documents getElementsByTagName method to get an array of option elements. So this line, this JavaScript statement, gets an array of option elements that's stored in an array named options, and then the rest of the work is done with that options array in the list options function coming up next. So you're going to see more about XML handling later on in the course because it's a fundamental part of Ajax, but this introduces us to the topic. The list options function down here has the task of recovering the options inside the array named options and populating the select control, that is this control, with the color scheme that the user has selected. So let's see how that works. This list options is going to take the array named options of option elements and populate them in the list and the select control. Populate the colors from the options elements inside the select control. So first it gets a variable corresponding to the select control, so it can work with that select control, saying getElementById option list, and that option list is the name of the select control, as you see down here. The select control, of course, is the drop-down list box. And then it loops over the options array for loop index equals 0, loop index is less than options.length, that is the number of elements in the options array, and then increments the loop index, and say select control.options. This is the option elements that are built inside the select control. Equals, we're going to create a new option element for inside the select control. The items inside a select control are stored with option elements. So this is a select control, and the elements inside it, the items inside it, are created using option elements in HTML. So you create a new option element with saying, in JavaScript you say new option, and then we've got to get the actual text, recover the actual text from the option element we're working with. So we work with the options array loop index that gives us the current option element. Okay, and then we've got to recover the text inside the option element. Now that text is in a text node in JavaScript terms, and so you say you've recovered the first option element, and to get the data from the first text from the text node inside the option element, you say the option element dot first child. That first child is the enclosed text node inside the option element. Then to get the actual text from the text node, use the data property. So this expression, options loop index, gives you the current option element you're working with. Dot first child gives you the enclosed text node inside the option element. Dot data recovers the actual text from the text node. So you see it takes a little bit of effort to recover the colors from inside the options array of option elements and stock them with the text with a select control as that. After the select control has been stocked with colors, then when the user clicks a color, the onChange attribute is used to call the JavaScript function setOption, and the setOption function in JavaScript merely gets the current element inside the option list select control. This way, it says option list.selectedIndex.firstChild.data, and that recovers the color of the selection that the user made, and then you can set the target div, which is what encloses the actual, set the color of this text, This is called target div. You can get the target div like this, and you can set its color this way: .style, .color. So this is the .style property, which contains a .color property, and you can set the actual color of the text this way using the recovered color from the select control that the user has selected. So there you have it. That completes the entire example. From Ajax terms, the most important part here was that you can call a PHP script on the server that will return XML, and when you get XML returned, use the response XML property of the XML HTTP request object, not the response text property. And what you get is a JavaScript XML document object. You need to work with the methods of that object, methods and properties of that object, to recover the actual data from inside the XML that you've downloaded. We'll see more about that later, but this first example gives you an idea. In this case, you say get elements by tag name, and you recover an array of option elements using this statement, and then you use the list options function to list those options inside the select control. So all in all, a good example of how to work with XML data and to download XML data using Ajax, and how to recover and extract the XML data that you've downloaded.